State Senator Kim Thatcher. And Senator Thatcher, she owns a construction company. She knows what's what on this bill. And she has served honorably in the House. I got to serve with her in the House. She's moved over to the Senate, and she works really hard for accountability and our responsibility in our state government. So she's got an important message for you today. I want you to really listen to it. I'm excited to present my good friend, Kim Thatcher.
Rally I have ever seen, and I can't even see all of it right now because it's so big. Anyway, I want to thank each and every one of you for standing up for your jobs, standing up for your neighbors, standing up for your families, and standing up for working people everywhere. Good job. When I was a state representative, I had the distinct opportunity and pleasure to work with Richardson when we were both in the House. We fought for accountability, transparency, and integrity. And when he became the Secretary of State, he made huge strides statewide in that threefold mission, which is increasing government accountability and enhancing government transparency and restoring integrity to the government for the people. Like Dennis, I have fought hard for the legislature, for government accountability and transparency and integrity. You know, right now we have record tax revenue, but our state government, well, it has a track record of squandering that hard-earned money that you give to your government. I believe every Oregonian deserves a state government that is a good steward of your tax dollars, and that every elected official in Oregon must be accountable, transparent, and honest with the taxpayers. Today, as you know, exuberant, I love it. Today, as you know, we are faced with big bill. See, what one is that? Cap and trade, yes. Like in Senate Bill 1530, lest we forget. And I'm guessing a few of you here might want to kill it, right? When the legislature enacts giant, costly, far-reaching programs that provide little to no oversight, that's a problem. Or let special interests have a seat at the table, but not you, that's a problem. And when they seek to hide the inner workings of a law from public scrutiny once it's passed, that's a bigger problem. And when they strip you of your constitutional right to refer a bill to the people by slapping on a fake emergency clause, that's a huge problem. Some lawmakers think you all aren't smart enough to decide for yourselves on whether the cap and trade tax like Senate Bill 1530 is a good idea or not. So they don't think you should have a right to vote on it. You know what? They haven't even finished writing the bill, yet they want to shove it through in this short, rigged session. Enough is enough. We need a watchdog to protect the public's trust. Today, I'm announcing that I'm running to be your next Secretary of State. I can't watch Oregon go down the tubes. I refuse to watch as Oregon government mismanages yet another public program and wastes your tax dollars. I will be a Secretary of State who will use the power of the Audits Division to ensure critical services are delivered and that taxpayer dollars are well spent. From cities, school boards, and state agencies. And speaking of agencies, one of the first agencies I would audit is the Department of Forestry. The recent court ruling against them for mismanaging our forest might cost us over $1 billion. Counties needlessly lost revenue, people needlessly lost jobs, and our rural economy was hurt. And I know it has most certainly hurt you. I want to get to the bottom of this problem so we can fix it. As the head of our corporations division, I will help Oregon be open for business. I want to help your business grow, not shut it down. Because whether you are a Republican, a Democrat, a Libertarian, or an independent voter or third party, we all deserve a Secretary of State who will ensure fair elections and will ensure your access to the ballot and ballot initiative and referendum process. Lastly, and most importantly to me personally, I believe we have to preserve the public record in a manner that creates transparency, because an open government is a better government. If they're going to try to enact any law that creates a shadowy function of government that the public can't scrutinize, well, guess what? It will still be subject to a public audit by the Secretary of State. And that's what it's all about. Accountability, transparency, and integrity in state government, and to build upon Secretary Dennis Richardson's legacy. I need your help today and starting now. I need you to follow me on Facebook, visit my website at kimthatcher.com, sign up to be a campaign volunteer. There, I will need volunteers in every corner of the state if we're going to win this. I would love to see a Kim Thatcher for Secretary of State sign next to every single one of those awesome timber unity forest and farm signs I see out all over the state. So please shoot me an email if you can put one up for me. I'll wait till this dies down. This is across the way in the big tent. You can help me by signing my voters pamphlet petition. I need to quickly get 500 signatures so I can get my voters pamphlet statement into the voters guide. There are many ways you can help, and one of the biggest is if you want to take out your phones right now and listen to this number. If you want to support my campaign, you can text a special number, which I'll give to you in a minute. You will text the word Kim, my name, K-I-M, and you will text it to 541-241-7192. That is, text Kim, K-I-M, to 541-241-7192. I know there are a lot of ways you can help, and now's the time to get involved. It's going to take every one of us, every single one of us working together, because I think we can change our state for the better. We can restore balance and fairness, and we can preserve our most fundamental rights. Once again, I'm State Senator Kim Thatcher, and I would be honored to earn your vote to be your next Secretary of State.
Timber Unity had a little bit of advance notice about Senator Thatcher announcing to be our next Secretary of State. And you know, I had the privilege to serve with Dennis Richardson. I ran his campaign for Secretary of State, and they said we could not get a good, conservative, fiscally minded person elected in this state. And we proved that wrong in 2016. So I'm really pleased to announce that the Timber Unity PAC, the one that you all have supported by the hats on your heads and the stickers on your cars, we said that some of those dollars were going to go to support Timber Unity endorsed candidates, and Timber Unity endorses Senator Kim Thatcher to be our next Secretary of State. We're proud of her for stepping up. We need leadership in that office. We need fair elections. We need an audit watchdog who's going to tell us how our money's being spent and help hold government accountable. Kim's the woman to do it, so we're super excited to support her. One of the things Kim didn't mention is that the Secretary of State is one of 3 important votes on the State Land Board. The Governor, the Secretary of State, and the Treasurer all get together and make decisions about how we use our state resources, our natural resource lands. And that doesn't always go the way we need it to go for the people who actually work on those lands. So if we elect a new Secretary of State in Senator Kim Fancher, and if we can get a treasurer, then we can have 2 people on the State Land Board who are using that position for the people who work in those lands. So I'm excited to introduce Jeff Goodman, who is a Lake Oswego City Councilor. He's running to be our next state treasurer. Give me your ear. Thank you.
Good morning. What a glorious day out. And isn't it great that Kim Thatcher's going to run? I've just been told shout. Okay. I'm a guy, I can take direction. My name's Jeff Goodman, and I'm running to be the next treasurer of the state of Oregon.
Yeah!
And I'm running to replace Tobias Reed as a statewide trustee, and as Julie mentioned, to help restore accountability to the State Land Board. And trustee is an important word. It implies trust. And Tobias Reed has not provided that to the people of Oregon. And for way too long, a big forest export has been wildfire smoke caused by a failure to manage our forests. But they, back behind us, back behind me, they really don't want to address the problem. Just keep adding more taxes without looking at other taxes to reduce or eliminate. Make no mistake about cap and trade. It's designed to raise revenue and is trying to do that on the back of rural Oregon. Not only are they doing it on the back of rural Oregon, they're doing it on the back of every Oregonian, but rural Oregon in particular. So we're now in for the fight of our lives and for our livelihoods. So thank you for being here today. Give yourself a big round of applause. And you know that carbon's coming out of our forests either as board feet of lumber or as smoke. And I'd rather have it coming out as board feet of lumber than smoke. Now our own Oregon Department of Forestry estimates there's about 5 million tons of carbon that's expelled into the atmosphere from forest fires in our state annually. That's about 9% of the annual state's carbon footprint. Let's focus on that. We can all work together to solve these problems. We manage our forests. Rural Oregonians have jobs. Forests don't burn every summer, and everybody's happy. But they don't want that. They want to quench their thirst for a never-ending revenue stream, which is all this is. New money, lack of transparency, a new bureaucracy, and a complicated program very few understand. And I'm reminded of a lesson from my dad. As a kid, he told me if I wanted help on homework, he said I had to explain it to him. And if I just wanted the answer. But he worked with me, and he would say, ask me when we were done, please explain it back to him. And if I couldn't, he said, then you don't understand it. So when you see our legislators, ask them to explain cap and trade. Is that they can't, then they don't understand it. Now we all know, and every one of you here know, that the people who intend to keep their land as a family business for generations, they're the ones who understand about sustainable. They're not worried about tomorrow or the next day. They're worried about it for their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, because their future depends on it. And it goes for everybody involved in the forest business. I used to have a dream of a day when good working people are not the ones caravanning to Salem like today to save their livelihoods, from the clutches of the legislatures who never have enough money, I dream of a caravan of Teslas heading to Joseph to encircle City Hall, honking their horns and demanding we bring back wildfires so they can raise taxes again. What do you think? So I'm asking for your support this November to help bring a new treasurer to Oregon, one who will speak to our concerns of everyone here today. Not our current treasurer, who tends to hunker down in his office unless he pops up to go to a fundraising event. Now, if you listen to the OPB or read in the papers, it was recently revealed that more than 40% of my opponents, Tobias Reed's campaign contributions, have come from out-of-state class action law firms, many of whom make millions from doing business with the state. Earlier this week, I agree. That's not behaving as if you're above reproach. That's taking advantage of the position that you're in. That's violating the public trust. I won't do that. Your trust is important to me, and I have to earn it every day when I become your next treasurer. Now, earlier this week, when I announced my candidacy for state treasurer, I publicly pledged not to take any donations from any company who does business with the treasurer's office. Period. Full stop. And if one slips through the cracks and makes a contribution on my website or sends me a check from a Washington, D.C. law firm doing that I try and make my campaign look bad, it's not going to work. I'm not going to return it. I'm going to send it to Timber Unity. So to the class action lawsuits, giving money to the treasurer's office, hey, send me that money and you'll see it. My name's Jeff Goodman. I'm asking for your support this fall to become your next treasurer.
Thank you, Jeff. You heard Representative Christine Drazen say that if you're not running for office this cycle, why aren't you? We need good people at every level of government. And honestly, I don't care what party you're in. If you're going to be for the people of the state, then run and serve, and we need your support. You know, an event like this today doesn't put itself together, and there are a lot of people to thank. So really quickly, before we get to our next speaker, I just want to thank some of the key folks involved, and there's some folks who maybe don't want their name mentioned, so we'll give them a little silent applause for all the anonymous people who are just chipped into the jar. But I want to thank Action Signs in Astoria. If you love our Timber Unity logo, thank Darren Mead. Mid-Columbia Bus, Eco Tour, Best Pots, Adams Ribs, who's going to help us with food today. Lunch, there is a lunch, so if you're hungry, free lunch. We want to make sure that you guys are fed. You came a long way, and we know you're missing a day of pay to be here, so we want to at least treat you to lunch. Cartel Logging, or Cantrell Logging, sorry, Timber Supply Company, Central Forest Management, Silver Butte Timber, Cascade Timber Consulting, Free Range Forestry, Stimson Lumber, Senator Dallas Hurd, who helped us with our soundstage twice, Marion County Republicans, who are over there helping with the food, Fred Simon, Teresa Sharp from Fred Simon Farms, Bridgetown Coffee is our coffee supporter, and they've been our quiet little helper, so go on our site and you can get some of their coffee. Bridgeview Signs out of Cave Junction have produced all of those wonderful Timber Unity signs everywhere across the state, and they've done it for not a lot of money. Newt Bueller for Congress is a sponsor today, so we want to thank all of our sponsors. And then we have some amazing volunteers, and we cannot let them go. I mean, aside from our board, who I want you to know has spent probably on top of their day job 20, 30 hours, 40 hours a week running all over the state. We need to thank Kayla Culkins and Peggy Rush and Belinda and Steve Coleman. They're moderators. They show up wherever we need them. Juana Zeller, who is a county captain in Tillamook County, our first county captain. If you live in a county and you want to support Timber Unity, come find me after this. We need county captains in every county of the state. Tammy Stoffel, who's the wife of Todd Stoffel, our vice president. Heidi Lieb, who runs field signs everywhere and brought all these wonderful saplings for us to plant today. Joe Stinnett, Jen Haymaker, Teresa Sharp. There are so many other people to thank and so many people who put dollars into this. And every dime we have raised this summer out at events brought us to this day and got all of our costs covered. And so we also thank every single one of you for supporting in every way possible that you could possibly help. Because you know what, if they pass bills that kill your jobs, none of this matters. We have to stop things like cap and trade. So with that, I want to introduce Mark Thielman. He is the school superintendent from the Alsea Public School District. Who is here from Alsea? Whose kids go to Alsea schools? If you live in that area, your school superintendent has a few things to say today. So Mark, please come up.
Hey everybody, how we doing today? It's great having all of you here. It's kind of unnerving for me since I think I'm the only school superintendent in the state of Oregon here speaking. So let's shout out for the superintendents. Anybody? So I'm from Alsea School District, Alsea, Oregon, very small timber town. I want to introduce real quick a very brave young lady. This is one of my students, Kimberly Cantrell. And this is her grandmother, Terry. Can we get a shout out for all the grandmothers? Come on, there's grandmas out there. Kimberly answered my request. She met with Governor Brown before the speaking started today, and she spoke very good truth straight to the governor. Let's give her a round of applause. Come on. Off the record, her mom's here in the blue and black flag. She's not proud. So again, thank you. My name is Mark Thielman. I'm a superintendent and K-12 principal for the Alsea School District, and it's a real honor to be here speaking with you today. I've had the privilege of serving the students and parents and stakeholders in Alsea for the last 10 years. And but before I begin getting in too much detail, I do want to say if I seem or look or sound tired, it's because late last night, I had a terrible nightmare. Raise your hand if you've ever had one. Nightmare. You know, it was one of those really vivid dreams, you know, where it's almost like a little too real because it kind of goes like this. It was a stormy night, and I was awoken by a rap-tap-tapping knock at the door. In the midst between the lightning and the thunder, I lumbered my way and I answered the door in the dark of night. And what befell me, I was staring face to face with Governor Kate Brown. Now, come on. She enthusiastically said to me that Oregon was experiencing a freak weather phenomenon. But not to worry, she was from the government and she was there to help. Kind of terrifying. Most sane people would have woke up right then, but not me. No way, I stuck it out. Okay? So she went on to explain that in order to fix this weather crisis, the state government would need to double the insurance tax on my school district. Get it? Let's tax schools to fix weather. Then she said, or handed me an 1,100-page cap and tax, typo, cap and trade bill that was required to fix this situation. So it was that moment I actually did wake up. It was 3 a.m. this morning, true story, in a cold sweat, only to realize that the state government did double my insurance tax from $25,000 to $50K, and they're going to be trying to ram an 1,100-page cap and tax bill through this legislature. We need to stop it. So for those who don't know, Alsea is a very small timber town. It's currently 25% of its former size. And that's a product of 40 plus years of regressive, backwards government regulations that have just absolutely decimated the Alsea local economy. They've killed our family wage timber jobs, they've shuttered our local businesses, and they forced 75% of the people in the community to move away. That's a real effect. Families are now separated by time and distance. And our little tiny school districts suffered dearly. As a small school superintendent, for those who don't know, I I came in to LC and took it over at a time when the student enrollment was at an all-time low. And some of you are from small communities and you know what I'm talking about. We had trouble fielding, football and volleyball teams. We had trouble running programs. We were unable to pay our hardworking teachers and support staff the wages that they deserve. However, we didn't give up. So we did some crazy things. We opened up our district borders. We sent buses into the big city of Corvallis, and we picked up a bunch of their kids and we hauled them back to LC to keep the doors open. A little bit of applause. It did not make me popular with my superintendent colleagues. Okay. We then chartered our school, and every year our little school district and our little community got a little bit stronger. Let's hear it for small schools. Come on, they need it. So listen, this young lady is the reason why we need to fight this fight and do what we do. Okay? Because of all this little bit of success, our little tiny success story in LC, it's an American story. It's an Oregon story. And our little heart in LC is the school. And our school and our heart in our community for the first time in a long time is strong. And I want to thank each and every one of you because I'm telling you, I know your hearts are strong too. And thanks to you guys being here, we here in LC have found and discovered something we haven't heard for a long time, and that's our voice. Let's get a shout out to that. So I'm here representing LC, standing in solidarity with you. Our voices can never be silenced again. Get involved, be active. And now I would like to finish by sending a very clear message to Governor Kate Brown, and just for fun, let's throw in Speaker Kochek and Senator Peter Courtney. Do I hear an ooh and an ah? Let's go. So I want the three of them to know that we're not going to be quiet, we're not going to stop, and we're going to fight this bill. We're going to stand up for our values, for our people, for our schools, and for our community. Again, my name is Mark Thielman, and I'm standing here in solidarity with you. Thank you very much.
Folks, we're going to have a few more people. I just want to make a couple quick announcements. If you want to testify, my former colleagues are going to give you 2 minutes each, and the sign-up starts at 1400 hours, 2 o'clock. Testimony is going to begin at 3. Timber Unity will be doing a presentation of our plan to fix the carbon problem in Oregon. So we will be there at 3 o'clock. But if you want to have your 2 minutes and tell your story, you need to get in that building and get on the sign-up list. And if you came from further than 100 miles away, which is a whole lot of you, they'll move you to the front of the line. We do have, if you did not write your local lawmaker a letter, there's pen and paper up here. Write them a letter, drop it off in their office, and tell them why you don't support Senate Bill 1530. There is lunch across the way. Again, I want you to eat the lunch and partake and break bread with your friends from all across the state. Over in the big booth, there are petitions to sign. Senator Thatcher needs 500 of us to sign that petition today, and if we do that, we'll save her $3,000. So let's help her campaign. Let's get those petitions signed. I want to talk about one other petition that Timber Unity is supporting, and it's Initiative Petition 10. And we have until June to get 149,000 signatures to the ballot. This is the petition that lets you vote on freeway tolls. Right now, the Oregon Transportation Commission can start tolling our freeways without a vote of the people, and we already paid to build these roads. So, if you don't want to pay freeway tolls in and out of your job, go across the street, sign the IP10 petition, get a petition kit, find the link at voteontolls.com, become a volunteer petitioner, and let's get this thing to the ballot, because you know what? They take away a whole lot of things from us that we don't get to vote on. Let's not let them take one more dime without a vote of the people. So please go support IP10. I'm one of the chief petitioners, along with Representative Mike Bierman. I think he's been over in the booth today helping folks get to access to that petition. So let's get that to the ballot. If every one of us went and got 50 signatures from our friends and our neighbors and our co-workers, we could have a vote on freeway tolls. So let's get IP10 Even if you're represented by somebody who doesn't agree with you, respect that they have an opinion too, and share yours. And make sure that you go in and you make it known your position on these issues. Make sure you pack up your trash, leave the Capitol cleaner than you found it. But today is your day, folks. Let's make it work. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Julie Parrish. I just want to introduce our next speaker. She's just an American badass. She's the one who set up this entire convoy. She's our transportation specialist. She's a Marine. I don't even know what else to say about her. Lisa Holcomb.
You ready to take a nap yet? Hey, I wanted to take an opportunity. You guys have no idea. In the quiet of the night, when you've got a moment to stop and reflect on the faces and the people that you represent. Look at you down there, girlfriend. Yeah, they showed up in the back. That's right. I gotta tell you, you don't do something like this without your captains, right? So, to all of my captains, to all of our captains, to those that got up at 11 o'clock this evening, last evening, midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock this morning, and made a showing and put over 1,000 trucks and 20 miles 1,000 plus trucks and 20 miles. Every single solitary one of you took the day off of work to be here. And you know what we want to say to you? Thank you. Thank you. I want to read something. When we set up the timberunity-convoy.com site, I got a lot of mail. And a lot of the mail said, well, it was a common thread. And they said, we the people. You guys go and do what you do because we the people. Everybody had a common thread. And they kept saying, we the people. So the Constitution at the beginning says, we the people of the United States of America, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and you know the rest. Does this look like domestic tranquility to you? It does not look like domestic tranquility. Do you know why? Because your businesses are in jeopardy. Your farm, your trucks, my company is in jeopardy. All of these buses that came in today, I've been in the transportation business for 38 years. And in this industry, you must have a common thread. And you know what we have woven here on the state capitol steps today? A common thread. If they do not listen to us, we will be back. They wanted to know if you would be willing to chant that we would be back. So I told them you'd be more than happy to chant, we will be back. And just like when I ran up and down the steps the first time, you guys need to make your voices heard, and I want you to do it right now. If they don't listen to us, we will be back. 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 You're done right, we'll be back. And you know why we'll be back? Because we are not California. We are not any other state but the state that that man right there on top of the state capitol, and all of you, whether you're first generation or eighth generation, you built this house. This is your house. And what the Constitution says in a state to form a more perfect union, I grew up in a trucking union. And my dad had the fight of his life when the union came in and got in the middle of their business. But the one thing that he always said is the union will protect you. Well, you guys aren't necessarily union, but is that true? Is that a true statement? It is. a true statement because you guys are a union of the people. And that is the most important thing that you can be. I had somebody write me yesterday and she said, please speak for me. And the reason I want you to speak for me is because if cap and trade passes, I did the calculations just for my little farm. The increase will cost me $45,000 a year. I cannot afford $45,000 a year. Will you please go tell the people in that building right there that I cannot afford $45,000 a year. So I'm here to tell her, every one of you, the union of the people, will make sure that you write or call or visit every single solitary person that needs to know that this cap and trade agreement is going to cost at least one person I know $45,000 a year. They want us to get all of these vehicles off the road. What if every single solitary person here actually drove a car here instead of getting in a bus today? Why are you not helping me subsidize fuel incentives? That's what you can do to be environmentally friendly for me. You can help me pay for renewable fuels for my vehicles. You can help me come up with ways to make my equipment the way that you want it. But don't tell me you're going to do it. You're going to force me to do it, but not help me do it. Because we're going to close the doors, and we're not going to be back to do commuter transportation. We're not going to be back to do school bus transportation. We will not be back to do tourism. So if you ever had an opportunity to talk to one single solitary person, to tell them that your voice matters because you are a union of the people. You paid your dues. You are dues-paying union members of the People's Union. That's who you are. Do not relent. Do not fight. And remind them, we will be back. We will be back. We will be back. Thank you guys very, very much to the captains and to everybody that traveled here and took the day off of work. There is no more amazing constitution of people than the people that are standing right here and the people that you represent. Go back to your communities and you tell them what we did here today. Give yourselves a big, solid round of applause to my captains and everybody that joined those convoys. We will be back.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Hey, I just want to give a quick shout out. We have signs out there in that other corner. Follow the mark. They're for donations only if you want to support us. I'm going to introduce our next.
By the way, Adam Lardy couldn't be here. He's down in Mexico having a margarita for you guys, but he wanted to say hi. So this is Adam's badge. You guys give him a big shout out.
Tequila, yeah. And I'm going to introduce Kevin Starnett. He's Oregon Firearms Federation Executive Director, and we as Timber Unity know that we have members all across this state, but we need to unite and fight together. Kevin.
Thank you, Timber Unity, for inviting me, and thank you for being here. This is really awesome. You know, when I came to Oregon almost 30 years ago, I thought I'd really found paradise. This place was impossibly beautiful, a little quirky, but free. And so I stayed here, and I raised a family, and I watched as this once promising state dissolved into a mess of failed liberal policies. And I watched our schools start to fail, and our streets become tent cities, and the most dangerous place a kid could be was in the care of Department of Human Services. I saw our taxes go up while our forests burned down, and I saw sheriff's departments shrink as their budgets disappeared along with the jobs in their counties. And I've seen the disgraceful people in this building treat you like you were expendable. And every year it got harder and harder for me to come up with reasons to tell my sons that they should stay here, to stay in a state that treated people who worked hard and wanted to take care of themselves like they didn't belong here. And tomorrow, on top of everything else, the Democrats in this building will be pushing a bill that will destroy youth shooting programs and forbid you from leaving your 17-year-old daughter the means to protect herself when you're away. When you look at all this, it's easy to understand why people become disgusted and discouraged and start looking around for a more rational place to make a living and raise their families. And then something like Timber Unity happens. You look around and you see the faces of the men and women who actually built this state. And that's you folks. And I can't help but be hopeful and feel like the fight's just starting and we're going to win it. And so to all the loggers and truckers and ranchers and gun owners and our warriors in the medical freedom world and everyone who believes in liberty, I just want to leave you with the words of your own Timber Unity's own Adam Lardy, who said this when he was closing his remarks at a freedom event a few weeks ago. Words to live by. He said, "I'll be damned if I'm leaving." Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Kevin. So next I'm going to introduce Bill Hoyt and Commissioner Todd Nash from the Cattlemen's Association, and they're going to have a bunch of commissioners behind them standing in solidarity to say no on this terrible legislation.
Everybody, I'm very proud to stand here today and represent the Cattlemen's Association, 1,800 members, the 7,000 people that represent Wallowa County, and the nearly 500,000 people of Eastern Oregon Counties Association that incorporates 2/3 of the state of Oregon. The problem with the majority of the legislators in this building is they forgot what looks like on the top of this building. It looks like you. This cap and trade bill, we've been told, is too complicated for us to vote on. I'm not ashamed to say that 86 pages of lawyer talk, followed up with 28 pages of amendments that are lawyer talk, are too complicated for me, and they're too complicated for the legislators that pretend that they know what it is. Until there is a full environmental and economic study that shows the effect on all 36 counties of the great state of Oregon and how it's going to affect us, we are not only a no, we're a hell no. This state needs you more than the state knows. It needs you to clean up our forests. It needs you to provide jobs for our rural areas. It needs you to show the next generation of true environmentalists how the job is done. This state needs you to house and feed and clothe the people of this state. And maybe more than ever, it needs you to show as an example what healthy, happy families are. I remember 30 years ago when timber was the #1 commodity in the state of Oregon. Who would have ever thought that we would have slid where we are now? We led the world in wood products, and now we're not even in the top 20 of commodities in the state of Oregon. Never would have believed that. When I look at the pioneer spirit on top of this building, I see the loggers I grew up with. I see the ranchers that I worked with. And I'll be reminded every day from this day forward of the people that showed up here today to make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. We're saying no to this. No to this. No to this. We have been pushed around for too long. I would like to thank the Lord above for the opportunity to be here and be in America today. You cannot, nowhere else would this opportunity be here for us. Since the 1840s and 50s, Oregon has been the land of opportunity. My great-great-grandfather came here on a wagon train, and I've been on the same piece of ground for all my life, and I'm 5 generations of watching that ground develop and Oregon develop as a state. My prayer is that the land of opportunity still will be available to the future and to the next generations. That's what it's about. It's about what we're doing today means that our kids and their kids will have the same opportunities that we had. Our bond together here is working on the land, is being in the natural resource industry, the miners, the loggers, the timber guys, all of the farmers and ranchers, the fishermen, everyone, the dairymen, the nurserymen. We're all in this together because we represent the bond between us and the land. I think that we should be able to work the ground and be competitive. And what 1530 and what they're doing to us with this is going to make us not able to be competitive. And pretty quick, those jobs will go away. This legislation will injure the engine that powers our industry. I would like to say to all of you today, God bless you for being here and taking the time. God bless the state of Oregon. God bless the ranchers and the farmers and the timbermen and the loggers and all of us who join together in this cause. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you from the cattlemen. We are with you 100%.
There's a few of my fellow commissioners that want to introduce themselves and tell you that they stand with you here today too.
I guess I gotta be first. I'm Lily Morgan from Josephine County, the heart of mining and timber in Oregon. We say no, don't take our jobs. These commissioners I'm gonna pass along are awesome. We stand with you.
I'm Mae Houston from Jefferson County.
Good afternoon, Chris Boyce. I was fortunate enough to be elected the chair of Douglas County Board of Commissioners this year, and just last week was delegated the authority by my fellow commissioners to announce our official position on the cap and trade bill, which is an absolute no.
Tom Kress, Douglas County Commissioner. Wow, what a turnout. You know, we're starting to win at the national level, the working men and women. We're starting to win. We need to start winning in Oregon. And this is a hell of a start. Thank you.
George Murdoch, Umatilla County Commissioner, Pendleton, Oregon, and we stand solidly behind you.
My name is Wayne Fording. I'm a commissioner from Jefferson County, and I live in Madras, Oregon. And thank you to everybody for taking the time today. This is very inspiring.
Hello, Tony Devon from Deschutes County. I want to shout out to the caravan that came down from Central Oregon today, the truckers that came down. This is a great rally today, and we are behind you.
Good morning, I'm Paul Andrus, Union County Commissioner, and I want to echo what Commissioner Nash said. We are not a no, we are a hell no.
Margaret Magruder, a proud commissioner from Columbia County, the birthplace of Timber Unity. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Timber Unity. I'm Tillamook County Commissioner Dave Yamamoto. I'm also chair of the Council of Forest Trust Land Counties. We have our work cut out for us, but with the display we have here, you're making our jobs so much easier. Thank you for being here. Let's move this forward. Thank you.
Donna Beveridge, Union County, Eastern Oregon, part of the Eastern Oregon County Association and the Public Lands for AOC and NACO, going to Washington, D.C., fighting for us in Oregon. It's no, hell no for us.
Seth Crawford, Crook County Judge. Just so excited to see all these people out here that have common sense. Mostly when you see groups like this down here, it's paid people that are coming to try and push their agenda, but we actually have some working people here that know how to make an honest day's work. And just thank you for taking your time off work. And we need to say, it's been said, but I'll say it again, not just no, but hell no.
Hi everybody, I'm Kelly Simlick from Jefferson County, and I want you to know I approve of this message. Let's go! I'm
Jay Kozovich from Lane County, home of several companies that pay family wage jobs that are family owned, like R&R King Logging and Seneca Family Mills. We should not, as commissioners, be having to sue our state and our federal government to get harvest on our public lands. And we should not be taxing us for carbon. We need to stop this bill. Thank you for coming and thank you for having me.
I'm Lyle Motors from Polk County, and I just want to know from our county, it's a hell no.
Hello, Timber Unity, citizens of Oregon. I am Craig Polk, Polk County Commissioner. A very proud commissioner to be standing here with you today. Polk County, the home of timber, cows, grass, grain, and many other things that feed our families and employ our nation. Thank you for your support.
I'm Mark Albertson from Lake County Commissioner. Admiral Yamamoto said it best in 1941 after they bombed Pearl Harbor. He said, "I think we have awoken a sleeping giant." And that sleeping giant is timber unity. God bless you.
Well, I just want to give a big round of applause for these county commissioners that are doing their part to stand for their rural communities. Thank you so much for joining us. Next, I'm going to introduce Heidi Live, the Woman Forester of the Year. Give her a big round of applause. She's been working her butt off for Timber Unity. She's got all these seedlings for us. She's going to give a little ditty about what we're going to do with those. What's up, Timber Unity? Thank you all for showing up. I know that you're all taking the day off. I know a lot of you guys, you loggers and truckers and family and friends, and it's blowing my mind to have you all here. It means so, so much. And the reason we're here today is because we love Oregon and the forestry and the ranching and all of y'all, the farming. We are the backbone of Oregon, and we don't want to see what happened several years ago with the Northwest Forest Plan and the spotted out. It killed us, and we're still trying to regain from that, and this would be the same thing. So I'm asking you today to come into the Capitol with me and share with everybody there what it is that we love about Oregon and what we do with our trees, because we are carbon neutral. We sequester carbon. These trees are amazing. They take it out of the air, use it to grow, and create oxygen for us to breathe and stay healthy. So don't let them kill us. Show up, be heard, use your voice. Each one of you matters and you count. Next. I've got envelopes and trees, and we're going to go in there and we're going to say hello to everybody. You just get to know them, become friends, tell them what we love about Oregon, what we are passionate about, and why they can let us keep doing what we're doing, because we're doing a really damn good job at it. So if you would, come up here, grab a tree, grab a letter, and join me to go into the Capitol. Whoever's brave enough to go with Heidi and pass those seedlings out to the 90 representatives in the House, follow her right now as she takes off with those seedlings. I also want to introduce Dominique from the Russian Believers. Like I said earlier, we are grassroots united. We're not just Timber Unity. We've got to band together with everybody to take this state back. Woo! Thank you for that introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dominique Abuena from the Russian Believer community. And here's one quote that I will say that is never going to be overused. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction, ladies and gentlemen. So we need to ask these questions. Who are you guys? Why are you guys here? We dress a little different. We've got our dresses, we've got our hats. Ladies and gentlemen, where are you as citizens? We are here to fight for this country, for this state. We are not going away. We're going to continue showing up. And with that, I would like to introduce one of our founders,
it's important to be at the rally, but it's also important for us to get the right people in the Capitol. So I would love to have your vote. I do want to say that my opponent, Teresa Alonso, voted yes on this bill. I vote no. And I will continue to vote no. Oregon doesn't need any more taxes. Thank you. And if you would be coming on this journey, I would love to be your voice at the Capitol. Take care.
One more thing is there's this whole big negative about Russians, right? I'm gonna challenge you. I'm gonna ask you is come up, talk to us. Okay, we are U.S. citizens. This is our home, just as like this is your home, and we are here to stand together and battle this craziness. Thank you.
Senator. In 2019, then Representative Denise Bowles from here in Marion County, she actually took that vote on cap and trade. The House had a vote on it. The Senate killed it by walking out and negotiating. But Denise at the time was a House member, so she's off record as saying, hell no. When Senator Jackie Winters passed away, and Senator Winters was an awesome advocate for the people of the state, and it was really tough to lose her, Denise stepped up to go to the Senate, and the cap and trade debate was still happening. So now she's in the position of, I gotta vote again. So she said no in the House, she was willing to say no in the Senate, she was willing to walk out with her colleague, Herman Bearshire, got that all resolved before that came to pass. But she exhibited real courage. And so our 6th Courage and Conviction Award, now that we finally found her and all the mass of people, is my really good friend, Senator Denise Bowles. Senator, just
at least you got some. Welcome to your capital. Thank you for being here. You may have heard that I was appointed and sworn in as a Republican in the Senate in the middle of a Senate Republican walkout. And that was a great time, and I actually am so blessed to be a part of this. And I just want to say that this morning, coming in here and seeing all of you guys and listening to the sound of freedom, I am so grateful. And I actually just want to take a minute to talk a little bit about my housing committee this morning. And I sit down, and we have one thing on the agenda, and I'll tell you, it was supposed to start at 8, it got moved to 9:15, it got moved to 9:30. We were all there, but our chair still hadn't shown up to do her job. And finally she shows up and takes the opportunity to hold a gavel and complain that you guys are shutting down this Capitol and preventing people from sharing their voice. I'm sorry, Senator Reagan. I think we're hearing the people's voice. So thanks again, and thanks for your support. Man, I love this state.
You know, I think most of you think that you're here today to help us defeat this horrible cap and trade bill. But that's really not the only reason you're here. The real underlying issue that brought us together is the fight for freedom. Freedom to live in peace without intrusion from the government. Freedom to teach our children our values and not the government. Freedom to own your own homes and your properties and do what you think is best for those properties without government control. Freedom to protect life and the unborn. Freedom to have your say be heard and speak freely. Freedom to pray when and where you want to without interruption from government. Freedom just to be who you want to be. And something that is very important to all of us is the freedom to protect your homes and your families. When George Washington and a small group of patriots that were mostly made up of farmers and tradesmen took up the fight against the King of England, they weren't only prepared to fight for freedom, they were prepared to die for it. When Colonel Travis and 185 Texicans defended the Alamo against General Santa Anna and 5,000-man army in 1836. It was for the freedom of Texas and their people. They fended off Santa Anna's army for 13 days and died by the sword to buy time so General Sam Houston could build an army and defeat Santa Anna's army. Last year, 11 Oregon senators were willing to leave the state to stop cap and trade. It was a horrible, horrible policy that would have adversely affected each and every one of you for the rest of your lives and your children's too. But what we did by denying quorum to kill cap and trade was to buy you time. Now, you must build the army to defeat those in this building that want to take away your way of life. Again, it's a fight for freedom. Tell me, are you ready to fight for freedom here in Oregon? Americans have always defended freedom when the loss of liberty is detected, because we all know that if we lose it, once lost, it's nearly impossible to reclaim. You are the hard-working people. Many of you from rural areas are the ones who must take up the fight. We bought you the time. You bring the army. We must fight harder and harder through the ballot box with our votes to change the makeup of this building. Are you ready to vote? So now I'm going to have to return to this building to continue to work for you. I placed the task to keep this momentum going and to create this huge army with you. We bought you the time. It's time to fight harder than ever. Losing is not an option. Before I go, I want to leave one more thing. I want you to listen very carefully. Because the words I'm about to speak are not mine. The words I'm about to speak are not mine. Although I surely wish they would have been mine. The words I'm about to speak are those of the late, great Charleston Heston, past president of the NRA. Now listen carefully. Only from my cold, dead hands.
Thank you so much, Senator, and thank you so much for being willing to stand up for working Oregonians. My next guest is former friend and his representation, Senator Linthicum. He's the one that riding his blue tarp truck, and he wants everybody to sign it so he can take our message all across Oregon with him.
Quit signing my trucks. I don't know who's going to walk that off. You don't know, she calls me Farmer's Fred. This is my third rally I've been to with Timber Unity. The first rally, I brought that truck up with no load, 50, come up and help the loggers. The second rally, we came up with the same truck, so they graffitied my tarps inside out. So this time we flipped them outside the right way, and we repainted. If you like the truck, please get a picture of it. I was going to tell you, there's a jar inside here, if you got a penny, inside the Capitol. It says, if you think your vote count, go to the penny, put it in a no vote. We need to fill that thing with no. I don't have something to read like a lot of these guys, so I'm trying to go off memory on this, and I don't know what else I want to tell you, except I'm hungry. I want to introduce you to my senator from Klamath Falls, Linthicum. He's a good guy. Hey, and that's it. If you do get a chance, go upstairs and see your senators. You're allowed to go anywhere you want to in there. Go see your senators and say hi. And tell them we're here. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. You are awesome. This is great. What a great crowd. And you know what? You are the sweat and blood and hard work and tears that makes America great. You're the people here in Oregon who create all of the materials that the city folks take for granted. The stuff you do creates the world we live in. All of the food, the agriculture, the timber, the concrete, the asphalt on the highways, where does it come from? The people in the city, quite frankly, don't know where it comes from, and you are the folks that provide it. Please give me a hand. And today's fight isn't about whether you wear a hard hat or whether you wear Carhartts or you have a suit and tie on. Today's fight is about individual liberty. It's about liberty. You guys deserve your lives in your own hands. You deserve the freedom to run your own life, to control your own family, make your own medical choices, carry the firearm of your choice at your side. That's your uninfringible right. Keep it that way. There have been many people who have spoken today already. I'm not going to burn a lot of hot air here, but Ronald Reagan at one time said, "Isn't it good to be alive now? It's a wonderful time to be alive. We're lucky," he says, "to not live in pale and timid times. We're blessed with the opportunity to stand for something, to stand for freedom, liberty, fairness. That's why we're here today." These things are the things worth fighting for. This is why you took a day off. This is why you spent your money and your day to get here. This is the fight of our life. Make it count. Thank you for your votes.
Thank you so much, Senator. Hey, I just want to introduce my next dream team and give you a little quote from John Lennon where he says, "Question authority." Has anybody heard him say that? I just want to tell you that we brought some people that are scientists that think a different way than what we've been given. Bob Zyback, Chuck Weiss, Russ Sapp, overwhelming applause. I'm so exhausted. I've been trying to plan this for months. I'm just like over it. So here you go.
Thank you. Got any children's centers out there? Yeah, there he is. How about timber cutters? Really, you got some? Well, you guys are the truly endangered species of the state of Oregon. I'd like to, I guess it's not morning now, but my name is Russ Sapp. We logged for many years on the Siuslaw down out of Corvallis to the coast, to Mapleton, to Tillamook. And I'm from a pioneer family. My great-great-grandmother was born in 1853, and her parents were Elbridge and Hannah Trask, and that river is named for those early pioneers. Kind of proud of that. Since the 1870s, my family survived logging and cutting timber, farming, and transporting forest products. And I tell you that to say they're always being asked, well, it's too bad it's not sustainable. I'm here to say that it is sustainable. Yeah, thank you. And if it's managed right, it's very sustainable. Last year, the governor made a request for all the utilities to put together a fire mitigation plan to help plan for fires near and around right-of-ways. I currently serve on the Consumers Power Board, and we serve 6 counties, Benton, Polk County, Lynn County, Lane, Lincoln, and Marion County. And we have 45,000 poles out there in 2,100 miles of overhead service. Well, it takes a lot of work to maintain those right-of-ways and keep them clean and prevent failures that might happen. As we've all watched California burn, we have some good optimism in our utilities, and there is some good optimism from some of our congressmen also. I'd like to mention Greg Walden, Congressman Kurt Schrader, for their strong voices and common sense on their testimony to the House Committee on Energy and Commerce. Very good positive things coming out of those fellows. Congressman Schrader had a colleague that asked him, well, can we thin the entire forest? He said, yeah, we can, but it's going to take us 20, 30 or maybe 40 years to go through the entire forest. But that's what we need. We need some management, active management. It'll make a big difference in our communities. We might possibly rebuild some of the opportunities we used to have. So reducing the fuel load by thinning, salvaging, chipping, and it would translate into jobs for rural communities and put a whole bunch of guys to work who are willing to work. I want to thank you guys for showing up, and we've got several more speakers here. And I guess the message I would like to send is to use common sense when we make these decisions. And one thing we need in Oregon is guys with cow shit on their boots and sawdust on their pants. Thank you very much.
You guys, thank you for showing up today to protest this horrible idea of Kate Brown's. If it wasn't for the common sense of a lot of folks like you, these people inside could care less what the scientists really have to say. My name is Chuck Weiss. I'm going to tell you a little story today about how this climate nonsense got started. I was an undergraduate student at Oregon State University back in the 70s. My interest was just to get involved in weather forecasting and operational meteorology. I wasn't interested in climate things at all. But back then, I watched the transformation of the Atmospheric Science Department at Oregon State in 1977. The big push back then was, we are going to be able to tell people, we've already conquered the weather forecast problem. Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? But we're going to conquer the climate problem, and the new frontier we're going to conquer is the introduction of climate models. That was their big push back then. I had no interest in it, so when I finished up, I left and went on my way and began to just do my thing in atmospheric science and weather forecast. But then the 80s came along, and we started to hear these problematic predictions of catastrophe from James Hansen and NASA. The first models came out, and they were predicting all sorts of calamity. This was puzzling to me because when I learned from the founding principles years ago, and they're still as valid today as they were when they were first derived, and we learned them, was that CO2 does not cause the climate to change. It has no ability to do this. It's a greenhouse gas of secondary significance. It's the hydrological cycle, meaning water vapor, clouds, and precipitation, that control the Earth's climate through the entire radiative spectrum. That truth still remains with us today, and the only thing that changed it was the invention of these climate models that we now know, after 30 years of running them, that they simply don't work. We wasted billions of dollars on this and got nothing for it except these predictions of catastrophe. And then that has led to the political class getting involved in this. And what did they do? They turned around and said, well, let's tax carbon. That's going to be the solution to the entire climate crisis. But even if you believed in these failed models, which I certainly don't, if you believed in them, there is no way passing any sort of carbon legislation in this state can make one iota a difference in the total atmospheric CO2 concentration. It's physically impossible. Oregon's emissions are 68 million metric tons per year. That is 0.18 or 1800ths of 1% of all the global emissions. That means if you wipe out all of our emissions, you wouldn't be able to make the meter even move in measuring the difference of the global atmospheric total that we measure at Mauna Loa. And that's put into these climate models. So the whole concept is a big fraud. Unfortunately, money is what's caused the whole thing. Because money corrupted science. It has at Oregon State. I'm very ashamed of what they've done there, those that promote climate hysteria. And one of the things that really disgusted me, I don't know if any of you saw this or not, but it ran last March in the Oregonian. I call these the Dirty 70 professors who signed this because they endorsed a lie. And it's easy to prove that it's a lie. They said they demanded Kate Brown pass immediate carbon legislation. Back then it was HB 2020. But what they signed was, they said HB 2020 will overcome the challenges of climate. It will reduce the warming pollution across the state, invest in clean energy, and protect our communities from the impacts of climate change. That's a lie. It's absolutely false. There's no way it can make any difference. And so why would people do something like this? Well, it's just like I said, follow the money. Now, we also are told that we're in a minority. You guys are just a little fringe group, and your opinions don't count because the consensus of 97% of all scientists says this is causing a problem. I'm here to tell you today that's also false. There is no such thing as a 97% consensus. That was invented by a guy in Australia by the name of John Cook. And John Cook simply wasn't telling the truth, like so many do that promote this hysteria, and he made up the survey and called it good. There are also many reputable scientists who resigned from professional societies because of this very problem. The money driving it has caused it to become corrupt. I have resignation letters from 3 notable scientists, and I don't have the time to read everything that every one of them said. Hal Lewis was from the American Physical Society who resigned, and he just said, when I first joined the American Physical Society 67 years ago, it was much smaller, much gentler, and yet uncorrupted by the money which Eisenhower warned us about a half a century ago. He says, it is of course the global warming scam with trillions of dollars driving it that has corrupted so many scientists. Now this guy ran in circles with Albert Einstein. His PhD academic advisor was J. Robert Oppenheimer, who was in charge of the Manhattan Project that developed our country's first atomic bomb that we used on Hiroshima. The guy is a very accomplished physicist. So he goes on to say it is the greatest and most successful pseudoscientific fraud I've ever seen in my life as a physicist. Anyone who has the faintest doubt that this is so should force himself to read the ClimateGate documents, and those are all online. Anybody can see them. I don't believe that any real physicist, nay, scientist, can read that stuff without revulsion. I would almost make that revulsion a definition of the word scientist. Well, he goes on and then he resigns. And my beloved American Meteorological Society, Bill Gray, who is a hurricane expert, resigned under the same thing. He says he's very disappointed in the downward path the AMS has taken. The board members basically decided for the membership at large in all these societies and then claim to speak for all of them, and they're not speaking for us. We are not a minority, and you guys should never feel like you're believing any sort of fringe science. We have plenty of things that we could show in any sort of a presentation, and I've done many of them that would show CO2 is not having the claimed effect that it has. So I would just say, if anybody wants to be fair about this thing, if these Democrats promoting this carbon nonsense want a tax from it, then they need to do two things. I say, quit calling it a carbon tax and a climate tax. It has nothing to do with the climate. You're lying to people to say that it does. And number two, if you really want this, put it out to a vote. Don't shove it down everybody's throat. And you know why I don't think they're going to do that? Why they don't want to do it? It's because if they do, they know folks like you with common sense are going to vote it down. So they got to shove it down your throat. But that's my message to them. It's my message to you. And again, I can't thank all of you enough for showing up to this today. It's very important these legislatures get the message that they just don't seem to want to listen to from very reputable scientists. And we could talk to them. They're not interested. They only want to hear the stuff that they make up. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to pass the torch to another scientist who has something very important to say as well.
Hello everybody, my name is Bob Syback. I have a PhD from Oregon State. My studies have to do with the climate over a 500-year period and a 15,000-year period. We're having great weather. They're having a climate crisis in Portland. They're having a climate crisis here. It's not happening anywhere else in Oregon. This tax is a fraud. It will not change the climate. It will create another bureaucracy. We'll be paying for more government intervention, and it will cost us rural jobs. I see signs here about endangered species and tree planting. During my earlier career, I planted over 2 million trees. It didn't change the climate. The Endangered Species Act, you just heard Chuck talking about the modeling that's coming out of Oregon State. They can't be proven. The same modeling that they're using for climate change is the one they're using for endangered species. We do need research here. We need jobs. We need to improve the infrastructure. We need to protect against wildfire. People that are talking about sequestering carbon in trees to change the climate are either lying or they've been indoctrinated. Doesn't happen. What does happen, if we let these trees grow, despite the research we're getting, it doesn't sequester carbon and change the climate, it burns up. These wildfires we've been having the last 20 and 25 years have to do with modeling, with saying that logging is not healthy, and to have a healthy forest and to have wildlife habitat, we need to let these forests grow, we need to let them sequester carbon. That is not science, that's politics, or it's religion. We're not going to burn to death, our grandchildren aren't going to hate us, but if we spend more money on more taxes, it's going to continue crippling rural jobs. This has been happening for 30 years. This is just the latest episode, and it needs to stop at some point. And everybody here understands that exactly. We are the people producing food, housing, furniture, transportation to the urban areas. We're not having a climate crisis. We're having a government crisis. We're worried about straws. We're worried about paper bags. And meantime, I just drove past a whole bunch of homeless people right here in Salem. Something's wrong with the government. This is an indicator. I'm glad everybody's here seeing what's happening and protesting it, because this has to stop at some point. My finishing point has to do with the Elliott Forest. There's a real opportunity there. For the last 3 years I've been working on that. They set aside it for climate change research. What we need research on is government regulations dealing with wildlife, with marble murrelets, with spotted owls. That type of set aside, whether it's for carbon retention or for needed habitat, is creating a very dangerous situation for people on the coast. The wildfires we've had in the last 20 years are just an indicator of what this type of government regulation is leading to.
Yes, sir.
Please go to orww.org and you'll see the work we're doing with SWAC students and the Elliott, and look at the Elliott Forest as a real opportunity to do legitimate research that's actually needed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Gordon Folks. I'm obviously not a logger. I'm obviously not a truck driver. I'm too small to be those. I'm also obviously not a politician because I'm not smooth enough. I'm a nerd. I'm a scientist. I have a bachelor's degree in physics from the University of Chicago. I have a master's degree in physics from the University of Chicago, and I have a doctorate in physics from the University of Chicago. My specialty is astrophysics. I have much the same background as James Hansen. He's the global warming guru. He and I have talked, and we agree on many things, not to include climate, not to include carbon dioxide. What I'm presenting to you here today is a climate report. The conclusions are in line with many other skeptics. I'm one of 32,000 scientists who signed the Oregon Petition Project objecting to climate hysteria. 9,000 of us on that petition have PhDs. But I'm here to give you a climate report. And the basic climate report is that the climate is just fine. It may be a little warm, maybe a little cold, but that's normal climate. There's nothing unusual going on at all. Currently, the global temperature is about ½ degree centigrade above the 40-year average. It's still a borderline El Nino situation, so we're a little warmer than normal. We're warmer than normal in this area, but the Arctic has cooled off dramatically. I was watching the temperatures at Fort Yukon, Alaska, which is the warmest place in Alaska. It was 100 degrees Fahrenheit in June 1915 in Fort Yukon, Alaska. It has been running 40 to 50 degrees below normal Fahrenheit, down to 50 below zero in January. It's very cold there. That's part of the reason it's warm here. That cold air hasn't come down to us. But that's nothing compared to what's been going on in Greenland. The fanatics tell you that Greenland is melting. I'm here to tell you that Greenland just set an all-time record low. It has never been colder in Greenland at Summit Camp on the top of the ice sheet there. It was 87 degrees below zero Fahrenheit at Summit Camp. Amazingly cold. There is no melting of the ice cap under those conditions. But in Portland, in December and January, we set 3 record highs of 62 degrees Fahrenheit. That is pretty normal for record highs, but it's on the warm side of things. Now, Democrats will tell you, oh my God, we're going to die, it's getting hot. Well, that's not the case, but they have a solution for you, and that's a carbon tax. It's amazing how taxes will take care of everything. Just sign up for them, just agree to them. Republicans are going to be a little bit different, I think. They're going to tell you that 62 degrees Fahrenheit is a typical record high, and that we saw similar conditions in 1945. In other words, there's nothing particularly unusual going on. But what about the Democrats claiming that their carbon tax, trying to cut down on all of the use of fossil fuels, will have any effect on the climate at all? In fact, most of their taxes don't have any of the effect that they claim, but at least when they talk about funding education, a little bit of money goes to education. In this case, the carbon tax, the cap and trade, will not have any efficacy at all. And it's just not my saying that as a skeptical scientist. It is every other scientist who has quantitative capabilities. Oregon is 1 part in 1,000 of the problem, if there is any problem, and there is no problem. 1 part in 1,000 means that even if we go back to the Stone Age in terms of lifestyle, we're not going to make any difference in the climate whatsoever. And even Phil Mote at Oregon State University has said exactly the same thing. And he's my counterpart. He's the one most alarmist in the scientific community. Of course, the Democrats, and particularly those people behind me here, are ignoring all the scientists except the few pretend scientists. They don't want to hear any of this. You need to tell them that there is no, it's kind of hard to tell with so much noise, but there is no scientific basis for what they are saying. None. It's not going to help the climate at all. Our climate is just fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to my scientists who have given you guys another perspective. And now we're ready to park this song. We're finally wrapping up our program. I'm going to introduce our last 2 guests, our Vice President, Executive Director, Todd Stoffel, and Senator Dallas Hurd.
I'm going to get off of here and give it to Senator Hurd. Can we back up just a little bit? So, fortunately or unfortunately, I'm the last one that's going to be talking to you today. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? Somebody get on that CV and tell my fellow truckers, quit honking that horn so much. It's been a rough day, folks. It's been a rough last couple years. I wish my caucus members were still here to talk to, because I got to tell you, the first few years I was in the state house, I started to lose all hope. All hope. And then through chance, I found myself in the state senate, and I didn't really know what to expect. It's hard to imagine going into a caucus, into a chamber where everybody's over twice your age, so much wiser, so much more experience, that they're going to listen to you. I know you feel that same pain. Is anybody ever going to listen to me? Is anybody ever going to take me serious? That's why you're here today, because nobody's listening to us. Well, God bless, and I mean that statement, Leader Barrett Sugar and all of my caucus members. Senator Boquist, we call him the Colonel, because that's what he is. Frankly, I think being Colonel is a higher ranking than the position I'm in, so I always call him the Colonel. Those men and women in that caucus took in a young man that was probably seen as annoying more than anything in the House, and they gave me my confidence that I could represent you, my people here, effectively. That great people like that would stand with me, support me as I supported them, and it's led to this movement. For you, it's not about me, it's not about us in this building, it's about you, the people. Don't ever let these people tell you otherwise. You and I are not here for us. We're here for our children. My babies are right over there with my bride, Hannah. I can tell you that although this is the greatest achievement and honor in my life, but I'll say it, being married to my wife, like I always tell people, is my greatest honor. Being the father of my children is a greater honor. But being your representative in the Senate, being your servant is such an honor. But this job is hard. This job is tough. But it's worth it because it's for our babies. I want
me get down here and walk around because I'm just that kind of nervous energy guy. It was a rough morning, and I really didn't know what I was going to say to you. This wasn't scripted, still isn't. But I'm going to go back to a moment last year. I remember when I was in California, that was the state I fled to when we ran away from the state so we could stop the bill we're trying to stop now. And I wanted to be here so bad when I heard about when you guys were rolling into town last year. It was the most glorious, amazing thing a guy like me had ever heard of. And I wanted to experience it. And thank you for giving me and the rest of my caucus members a chance to experience it today. Because this is a lonely place for us. I felt alone for so long. I've been looking for a hero. I didn't get a hero. I got 5,000 heroes out here today. Anyone can be Clark Kent. Anyone can be Superman. It takes guts to be who you are. It takes character to take a day off from work. No one paid you to be here. You're losing money because the future is too priceless to just let it all fall away. Freedom is too precious. People like Senator Boquist, the Colonel, have gone out and spilled their blood so you and I can be here today. Never forget that. This isn't anger, by the way. This is fear of what the supermajority and the Democrats from Portland have brought to us. And by the way, for all you Portlandians that are out there, you are the oppressed peoples just like me in Roseburg. We love you. You are our brothers. You are our sisters. It doesn't matter what party you're from. I'm not going to point him out, but I saw one of my Democratic legislative friends out in this crowd today. One of the Democratic members of the House was out here supporting us. Something that I experienced today that I'm not going to go into specifics about, but I was exposed to some of the most unchecked, unreasonable, ridiculous hatred from one of the majority members I've ever seen in this place. I don't want to be like that. I don't want you to be like that. When we take this Senate back, when we take this House back, when we take the governorship back, and when, thank goodness, Senator Thatcher takes the Secretary of State's office back, I want you to remember something. We are not going to be like they are now. We are not going to oppress our neighbors. We are not going to force people against their will. We're going to do it right. Anybody can scream and yell when you're in the minority, like I am. It's easy to beg when I'm in the minority. Please treat me better. Please treat me right. Don't do this. That's easy. Well, I'm here to tell you, I commit to you as a man, as an Oregonian, as your brother, that when we take back those chambers, we will not treat them poorly. We will treat our brothers and sisters in the other party with respect, because that's what the founders of this country expected from us. They didn't care about Republicans and Democrats. They didn't know what the hell that was back then. Freedom was what united us all, and freedom is what will unite us again. Like Representative Post said, coming here today, hooting and hollering, yelling and screaming, does nothing. It does nothing if you don't start signing up and running for your school boards, running for city council, running for local elected positions, anywhere you can find, volunteering, voter registration. And yes, I know, the politician's going to say it, you got to make contributions to the war effort, folks. If you want to have what I'm telling you today, you got to work for it. You got to earn it. And you know what? I'm glad I can say that to a group like this, because you are the hardest working, most amazing, salt of the earth people, because I am one of you and I know who you are. Today is just another day in the turning of the tide that I believe the good Lord is orchestrating. So when I close here, I want you to stick around just for a second, because we're going to do the most important thing we've talked about all day, and that's closing a word of prayer. My caucus members were gracious enough, because like I said, they're amazing men and women, to let us pray the other day in our caucus for wisdom, humility, blessing, and victory. Not for us, but for you. So with that, thing here before we go into prayer. I've told several of my Democratic colleagues who've come to me and said, Dallas, what do we got to do to this carbon bill to get your vote? I said, you know, there actually is a pathway that I'll vote for cap and trade. You know what it is? Amend this bill and send it to the people, because you don't have the right to tell any of my people that they are going to die tomorrow for your self-righteous cause. So I want you to tell these people, we're not going to ask them to send to the ballot, we're going to tell them to do it. The people will decide. Come on, the people will decide. The people will decide. The people will decide. Governor Brown, the people will decide. President Courtney, the people will decide. Speaker Kotek, the people will decide. That's it. There is no option. All right, let's bow our heads and let's pray to the Almighty. Dear Lord, thank you for these amazing people. Thank you for their courage. Thank you for their wisdom. Thank you for their humility. Thank you for the loving, good people they are. They came to this town today using one lane of traffic so they didn't obstruct anyone. They didn't come here with any kind of hate in their hearts. They came here with love for freedom, for their fellow men and women, for their children's future. And I just thank you for that. Thank you for my caucus members. Thank you for the opportunity to just be here as an Oregonian and an American. I pray, Lord, that we will always pray for our opponents, that we would not be enemies, that we would become a united people once again. But in that experience of getting to that point, I pray that you will make it clear to all of us, no matter what state, no matter what party, majority and minority, that you would remind us we have to love each other, and that means respect that goes both ways. Anytime we decide in ourselves that we have some moral high ground or educational high ground that gives us the right to force our neighbor against our will, we are lost. I pray, Lord, that you would make that clear to all of us, no matter what place we find ourselves in this life. Thank you for giving us the life we live. Thank you for